All right, this is just a little talk, a little rant on prepping, homesteading, getting out of the cities, whatever. Let me tell you something. If you can't hear the drum beats of war around this world, if you can't hear it, then you're deaf. If you can't see it, then you're blind. If you can't see what's going on in this country and around the world, then you do not have eyes that see, and you do not have ears that hear. Always, but think about this. See this garden? See this garden? This is how just about everybody lived for thousands and thousands and thousands of years. However long you think the world's been here. If you think it's been here a billion trillion years, well, that's how long they lived like this. If you think it's been here 6,000 years, well, then that's how long they lived like this. Right here. This is the Creator's way for us. The natural way. Look, listen. This industrial technological way of life, this technological revolution, this industrial revolution that happened, it didn't happen because of the Creator. That Yahweh, God, he didn't make that happen. That it came about through man's carnal thinking. So it came about through carnality. That's man's way. Has nothing to do with the Creator. This, my friend, is the Creator's way. In the Garden of Eden, they didn't have YouTube and iPhones and vehicles, cars and computers and TVs and satellite. They didn't have all that. If he wanted us to have that, he would have given it to us. He didn't give this to us. We made this. Anyway, so look at the shape that the country's in. Look at the shape that the world's in. The whole world is preparing for war. I'll say it again. The whole world is preparing for war. If you can't see that, then you don't have eyes that see. It's just that simple. I mean, you don't have ears that hear. If you can't see what's going on in this country, how society is crumbling, if you can't see that and you can't hear that, then you are deaf and you are blind, spiritually speaking. Anyway, that being said, let me encourage you to constantly prep. Let me encourage you, if you're like me, we live about 2 miles from the suburbs of Atlanta. So we're right on the edge of the suburbs, about 2 miles from it. Atlanta, Georgia has over 10 million people in it. Most of them live in the metropolitan area of Atlanta. So we're in a bad spot. But I'm still here to work. And hopefully I won't be here long. But we got 40 acres in Tennessee. We're building 2 houses up there. They're dried in. It's an awesome place. It's 4 hours from here, so we can hop in the cars and go at a moment's notice. Let me encourage you to work towards something like that. Well, I'll do videos on that property up there. But let me encourage you to work towards something like that. There's places out there that'll finance land. There's land companies that'll finance your land. You can get owner financing. I mean, if you have bad credit, but you can. There is a way out. You can find a way out. Find you 3 acres, 5 acres, 20 acres, whatever. I don't care if you have a shed on it, a storage container, a tent, a house, whatever, a barn. Doesn't matter. Put something there. If it's raw land, start out with a tent and go from there. Have you a place, start working it, start working the land, Work towards homesteading. Take one step at a time. Don't be a fanatic about it. Make it a hobby. Find you an area that's a decent vacation spot, a place you could actually live, not too far from a decent job, and make sure it's out far enough where it can be considered a retreat. Far. It's got to be far from a big city like Atlanta. Very far. But you can get outside of you can find you a place that's outside of a small town that you can find a job at or whatever. Anyway, I encourage you to do something like that. Start working on that. Start working on getting your family out and away from the city, the suburbs, man, the society we live in. It's falling fast. And nobody's saying anything. Nobody cares. Everybody's just wrapped up in their life. But I'm telling you, the Creator won't let this world stand as it is much longer, especially this country. So I hate to hurt everybody's feelings, but that's just how it is. Find you a place, start working on it, make it a hobby, don't be fanatical about it, start prepping, always be ready to go, build you some ram pumps, build you some rocket stoves, steam engine for energy, wood-fired boilers, wood-fired water heaters, wood-fired kilns, get you some forging stuff to forge metals, save your metals, store food, always prep where you're at, right where you're at, prep and be ready for whatever. Find you some property within a day's drive, a half a day's drive from where you live. Always have plenty of gasoline, always be ready. Hey, we live in a very, very fragile world, and there's no doubt about that. We live in a very fragile world. It could fall apart at any minute. Anything can happen. So pull your head out of the sand, get your head out of that hole, and go to work. Start working towards this. Start prepping where you're at. Prep where you're at. And get you a place, a retreat. It could be a little vacation spot that your family will enjoy, that you can always go there, but you can set it up to be setting it up, taking little steps to actually live there. I'm telling you. And always be ready to go. I'm ready for whatever happens here. I got a 6-inch well back here, about 50 foot in the woods. It's slapping the woods. It's a 300-foot deep well. I've got Baylor buckets made for it. I don't know. I think I've got like 3 different kinds made for it. But always ready to go. My boat's always ready to go. I've got generators ready to start up. I got 2 plugs inside the house designated just for that. I always keep about 10 gallons of gasoline. I know they're in kerosene cans, but it's still gasoline. That way I keep that gas to top off my vehicles to get out of here or to run the generator, and I always have it. Anyway, I got my animal traps, bird traps, fish traps, a forge, everything ready to go. Always keep wood here for my rocket stoves, just in case. Wood back there. The wood back there is for my steam engine, my wood-fired water heater. I've got about 50 gallons of laundry soap left, homemade laundry soap, just whatever. Kiln, wood-fired kiln for melting metals. I've got tons of metals. I got videos on all this stuff, but I'm always ready. Always ready. And like I say, man, always be ready. Prep where you're living. If you're in a situation like me, Prep where you're living. Always practice. Always practice gardening, growing food, raising animals. I got all this stuff in buckets are for Tennessee. See, we're always working on a property up there, getting it ready. Elderberry, a lot of stuff I propagated, a lot of stuff I just bought. Elderberry and rosemary and fig trees and perennial herbs and blueberries and Oregon grape and cherry plums and on, blackberries. I'll plant all that stuff up there. That way I'm always ready here for the smaller whatever things that happen, and I'm ready for something big happens, and something big will happen. The Creator won't let this world go on like it is for much longer. So I'm telling you, get ready. Have eyes that see. Have eyes that see and have ears that hear. And be ready for what's coming. Now, it may be 2 days from now, or it might be 30 years from now. But 30 years is soon. So always be ready. I'm telling you, it's coming. So be ready for it. We'll see you.